We're good.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Environmental Services Committee meeting for March 12th, 2024. Are there any declaration of pecuniary interest?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Want some water?
No, I'm okay. I think this is my idea.
Someone.
Can't see me.
Okay, if there are no pecuniary interests, we can circulate the prior meeting's minutes. Does anyone have any questions about the minutes from that meeting?
No. We refer them at the end of February.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I don't believe there's any new business arising from those minutes as well.
Mhm.
So the Health and Safety, Environmental Services Joint Health and Safety Committee inspection sheets. I wanted to note that the same issues that are ongoing, and there are 2 Class A hazard and 1 Class B hazard. The access and egress to the basement is Class A. The water in the basement is Class B, and the mold issue ongoing is also Class A. I was wondering if the wet floor sign made up
We
the
have
stairs?
it, yeah. Instead of putting it at the bottom of the stairs, as we're finding it, we're putting it up.
Okay.
Just fine, you gotta set it, when you come down the stairs, it's a small area.
Mhm.
So it's kind of right in your steps, so
Also a hazard.
kind of, so everyone was like trying to walk around it, so we just, we'll keep an eye, and as soon as you see a sign, you can normally see the water starting to work its way up through the, like through the holes that they drilled when they tried to fix the water
Mhm.
back 2 years ago.
Okay,
You can see it started getting moisture around there, so as soon as that's when we decide, as soon as we see the moisture, we'll get the sign up. Typically what it is you'll see it damp, and then when you come down the next day, it'll be water. So we do have the sign, we just not gonna leave it up for the, just in a small area, so.
is it like just up against the wall right there?
It's leaning
Right
against
here.
the file cabinets, so you can see it, it's just not properly set up,
Okay.
it's just leaning.
And I'm sure it goes without saying, but the staff are all aware that it gets slippery there, right?
Yeah. Everyone's aware.
Jay, were you able to look into the PPE options for the staff?
I did, so basically it's the same thing. Most of the recommended stuff is for removal when you're working with remediation. Kind of discussed with staff about, trying to wear them at this, minimizing time in there. Again, it's not, you're there, you're in and out constantly, you're there all day, you're doing physical work. With, up and down stairs, cleaning. You're working in a lab, you're trying to look through a microscope and a mask on. It's not that easy to do. So we did look at some, I went and looked at the offices that was topic of discussion. And I did do some more, kind of something that honestly it slipped my mind, and I came to the other day, so the air purifiers is something that I'm gonna suggest as a short-term temporary thing that we can use.
That's good.
And I went through a bunch of research and documents that back it up. Is if you buy the air purifiers with HEPA filters, you can put them up throughout the building. And then that will, what it does is it traps the mold spores that are floating in the air, helps reduce the amount of mold spores that we've been breathing in. Still doesn't eliminate the issues, but it will make it a lot safer for people to be in that area. Basically reduce having to wear suits and masks and gloves all the time. The other thing, moving it could potentially say, instead of moving to another office or spending, like the arena office, we looked at it. To go there and spend some significant money in air conditioning, and it's not air conditioning, the office hasn't been used by any staff as long as anybody I've talked to can remember. We were in, Frank let me in, we looked around. It would need some cleaning up and some work to try to fit if I could even put all my stuff that I would need there in the office. Public Works would work. They do have some concerns with that, being that they're saying they use the space, so there's an overlap of office. Me being in there and them wanting to use the space. So I think this could be an option that if we bought a few of these units, put one right in my office, one in the main level, one in the basement, we could at least minimize the mold spores that we have in there on a regular basis, and then just continue to work forward, trying to get a end all solutions to the problems. They range from $500 to $1,000 in price, depending on the brand and the size of the unit, so. We'd have to get some definite. We'd be looking at approximately $1,500, a little over $2,000 to put 3 of them in the building now. Which would be a fraction of what it would cost to do the work at the arena office. And then Public Works, and it would just be a matter of working with them. But I know it's not favorable for them to lose that office space, so.
Just a couple follow-up questions, thank you. So the arena office wouldn't be easy to use because
To be there in the summer, it's not, like, there's no, it's cold in the winter, it's not heated, it's not air conditioned, so we'd have to do something, because that's part of the reason it's never been used by past management or their staff don't use it now. I have some concerns with, being in that office, that I believe you're always, people coming in and out. You have to always have everything locked up. You can't just walk out of the office very well. Staff are gonna be driving in and out all the time, trying to get in the front door. If there was a relocation, my suggestion is the Public Works one. That's have the space, and it's a little easier for people to get in and out, not to mention contractors are gonna be coming in and out the same, so. It's a little more suited for that. But
and you said that they currently use this space. Do you know what they use the space for?
I'm being told to use some of it for office. I've heard some of it's being used as student change rooms. I've heard different things from different staff and what they use it for, so.
Okay, so. I mean, the duty under the Health and Safety Act is that every reasonable precaution is taken in circumstances. So in your opinion, as the supervisor, do you feel like the HEPA filtered air purifiers are going to make a significant amount of change for, let's start with just for your office, in terms of health?
From what I've read, it will make a significant difference. And basically it'll filter a good portion of the spores out of the air. So it will make a significant difference. Moving is ultimately the best. I do have concerns with that, even as a manager, by taking one person out of the building, because they are spores in the air. So they're always moving. The whole building has ventilation. It's always moving. So moving one person out, leaving 3 other people in, doesn't really, in my opinion, do what we need to do. So yes, it can help me, not help me, the staff. So I think if we put multiple units in, and hopefully, that'll do the trick. And it's just not enough space in other buildings to have all the staff in them. So the ultimate thing would be do the best we can and try to keep moving forward with the solution to all the issues.
So there's not enough space to have all the staff move, but if there was enough space, like if the space was found, it was something that would be possible.
You could, and it's not gonna be, it's gonna be a lot of wasted time, because people will be driving back and forth a lot. There's issues with, that were discussed with relocating all the staff with if somebody gets contaminated, we'll say, now you have to get into a vehicle,
Mhm.
you have to drive to another site, you're bringing that contamination into another site, other workers are gonna be involved. That was one of the reasons that was agreed that a new building would need to be put back on the same site. So, and then with St. Clair Street construction this year, that's gonna even increase the amount of time, because everyone's gonna have to go a long way to get to the public works. They definitely want to be able to do the arena. There's no place for them at the arena, but and then public works, it also brought a lot of health and safety concerns up in the space with, you know, more vehicles, more contractors, all during the busiest time of the year when they have their staff, the arena staff in there and the summer students. There's just only so much room that people can work and move around.
And have you, I'm sure you have, but you've spoken to the staff about this, your
My
staff,
staff, yeah.
and have they voiced, any recommendations, concerns about, not moving until a building is built possibly?
Yes, we've
Comments?
talked, and I've told them about the air purifiers. We did talk about, you know, just me moving out and leaving them. That didn't go very well, but there's a lot of questions as to why would we move one person and not everybody. Basically, they do acknowledge that being relocated is going to be a lot of running back and forth. There's questions about washrooms, labs, you know, how we're gonna do all the logistics of operating a plant. The SCADA computers are in the building, we're not supposed to be, you know, shouldn't be in, or we have, I shouldn't say shouldn't be in, but it's the one with, well, we shouldn't be in it. The showers, chambers, other staff in the village have concerns about, you know, soiled clothing coming to their departments and them having to possibly worry about potential contamination of, you know, with clothing and people rubbing up against stuff and touching stuff, so. There are some concerns, but I do feel they feel this would be something temporary that would help. It's not, they understand it's also not a permanent fix, but it is a step in the right direction while we're still trying to get the final solution right there. I think they'd be happy with that.
Just a comment. So the fact that there was discussion about moving you, like the explanation is because the mold's in your office. It's not that we didn't, not being concerned about other employees in other areas.
It's through the whole building.
That's not what I got earlier.
My office is the worst, and it's the easiest to visually see because it's all
Right.
carpet on the wall. Down in the basement, it's been tested and they found it. It's because of the double ceiling.
Mhm.
So one of the things I find is where the ceiling's all crumbling, it talks about that in the inspections. Where the ceiling is crumbling, that typically means you've got mold in the material, and that's what's making it crumble. So all that area where that ceiling is crumbling, it's been tested, proven there's mold. The crumbling ceiling proves there's mold.
Mhm.
So it's through the roof. It's just in my office, it's easy to see. Because
Yeah, I
you
was
can
just
rip
trying
up
to
the carpet.
explain
You know, it's,
why there was a judgment that way. And
then it could have been some, like I said, some people think that because we're talking about my office the most, because that's where it's the easiest to visually see it. I think it was just maybe a little miscommunication that they were thinking that, you know, it's only in my office. Some people think it's only in my office, but it's not. It's through the whole. It's down in the basement. It's in between the floor and the ceiling in the basement. And then even when we had the last, we had some people in doing some health and safety stuff through hygienic or industrial hygienist. The track that's around the wall, they were concerned because it's always wet. It's always moving water to the sump pump. They're concerned with all that because it can never dry up. So the mold, you know, if it's back there, unfortunately, you can't see it without ripping it back. And if we do that, it breaks the seal, all that water is going to end up flooding the basement. So But they did have concerns that you can hear the water constantly in the basement. So it is in the basement all the time, and that's where, lunchroom, laundry, shower, it's all in the basement too, so.
So I fully understand why they would feel concerned about you moving and not them, because as their supervisor, your duty is to make sure that they are protected,
Yeah.
right? And of course, you know that, and that's why you're doing all this. You're also not a martyr, so, you staying in the building doesn't make it better.
Yeah.
For anybody, it just makes it worse for you. But I think those comments highlight the need to seriously consider moving everybody, depending on how long, a process could take to deal with the solution to completion. It really needs to be looked into what can be done for everybody.
And we did talk, like, we have looked at the option of, temporary trailers. And it was a significant expense to get that for a short term with, it also eliminated a lot of the room that we would have on site for contractors and trucks to get, like, basically go where our own deliveries would go. We had the contractors come in, these are the two spots we can put these. They were also, one has to be custom made, to house a lab and stuff in it. And basically what they told us is once the village gave commitment to the contract, then they would go to the owner of the company to get approval to build a one-off, because it is a one-off product for the lab. So then if they approved that it was long enough term to make a profit, they would build that trailer, which would be 6 months. So the initial hope was the design of the building and everything to move forward fast enough that if we do, half a year, well, the building could be up in less than a year. So you'd spend all this money for less than 6 months of time, right? It's still a possibility, we can still look at it. It's just the cost of moving everything to it, and
Yeah,
it
because
is an option.
there is no date, so it's just either wait and see or look into every possible solution, right? And I mean, the Joint Health and Safety Committee, if they make recommendations, we should definitely look into them. On that note, I noticed that the comments and recommendation section was blank again. I know we talked about that last month, but I would like to recommend that the section be filled out each month for the record, even if it just states that the Joint Health and Safety Committee has no recommendations.
Okay.
So that if someone's going back and looking through those records, it doesn't look like whether there are none or whether it was forgotten.
Yeah.
We need a way of being able to decipher that without having to scour through all the videos.
Actually, they're due the end of this week, so I'm gonna do, instead of trying to figure it out with the mesh stuff, I'll just do paper ones this month as well, and I'll submit them as well, and then it's easy just to continue on while we're working on the mesh form, like the electronic versions. I know they're supposed to be getting those, we had our meeting, we kind of went through it, and we're in the trial and error still of that, so I'll just do the paper ones, and then we'll have that caught up.
Are you talking about just coming back from the joint health and safety meetings or the inspections having?
Both have no comments or recommendations in this section on the form. Whether that recommendation be that we continue to push forward for X, Y, and Z, that we look into air purifiers, that we discuss it further, or if there is really no recommendation, that it just says there is no recommendation. However, I feel like saying that there's no recommendation when there is obvious health and safety issues is not really fulfilling the duty of the Joint Health and Safety Committee. And I know that there are recommendations.
Yes.
Also, so you want to go ahead?
I just think we should be moving forward on buying these air purifiers. We've left it this long. your research is showing that it will help, then that's a step that we should take.
I don't disagree.
Uh, Do we
Okay.
need a motion or,
No,
I mean,
well-
it's not,
it certainly doesn't hurt to do a motion,
yeah,
but,
you know, to do something, he's not gonna move right now, but if that's gonna help everyone purify the air, you know, then shouldn't we continue to talk about it, we should just do it.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I can have you probably by hopefully by the end of the week. Should be able to get them.
And when you fill out the joint health and safety report next, can you clarify that there is mold throughout the building and not just in the manager's office? Just make it very, very clear for the
Yeah.
record in there.
Yeah, I can put all the, okay, and I'll put in the identifiers from the testing and the crumbling ceiling. And I have some documentation that explains that if you find that kind of crumbling, that is a sign that the mold's in the material.
Okay.
So I'll put that in and put it in so it clears it up a little bit.
How should we do this? Because if we do it as a motion, then it has to go to the next council meeting.
yeah, it
I don't,
just,
yeah, just
leave it.
just
Won't do it.
empower him to go do it.
That seems like a good use of emergency funds
Yeah.
if needed.
Yeah,
Does anybody have any questions?
well, that was. Great, no,
Right, then we can, receive. We can move on to the environmental services monthly report for February 2024.
Sorry, I left it sitting on my printer.
do you want this
Just give me a
copy?
second, and I will get it
Oh,
over there, you can read it.
Should talk about it, it's easier to read. Thank you. So updates from the previous month, update with the digester project. So Matt had requested that MIG have us drain the digester, the primary digester that what they're working on by March 1st. This was completed on February 21st, and I notified Meg that it was emptied and ready for Matten to do their work. MIG did confirm that they've passed that on, and since I did the report, they've actually there's been a couple of communications back and forth, they're planning on coming to do a site meet at the plant. We still haven't got an actual written plan of what they're planning on doing, or what they're gonna attempt to try to do to resolve the issue, but it is definitely starting to move forward for 2024, and hopefully we can get a solution to that, and move on to the second one. Work management, we currently have 3 full-time employees, so it was 2 full-time, we had a person on leave, they've since started back. They started Monday, so they're back from their leave, and we have a replacement for our full-time position, it's vacant, that starts at the end of March 25th. So as of March 25th, we'll be back to full complement of staff. Training, all of our staff are continuing to do all the required training and get their hours to maintain or gain higher levels of certification. Myself and staff are planning and scheduling our training to complete all the annual training requirements in 24. This will be a lot easier now to catch up when we're back to having enough staff, so 1 or 2 people to go on this training. And all of our health and safety training will continue to just follow the health and safety matrix of the village. Certifications, all the staff are kind of required or higher certification to operate under all the regulations. And again, I always encourage my staff to, try to increase their certification so they can be the highest level possible. treatment plant. All the interior work inside the plant's being completed and tracked through our mesh work order system. The plant and all the remote facilities do that routine maintenance and their general housekeeping done on a regular basis. We kind of discussed the admin building as far as the health and safety concerns, so. Skip that one, and then, just again, the roof still leaking, still dealing with it. Actually had 2 roofing companies in last week that they'd like to try to do some repairs, but again, we don't know what's gonna happen with the digester work, so we can't, if we pay them to do a repair, it could all be undone a week later with the digester work, so it's something that we really can't fix until we get the digester completed. Now they're talking about possibly removing all the steel off the side of it to do some investigations there. So that would definitely ruin any work that was done to the roof to stop the leak. So I don't want to just keep throwing money. It's going to be, basically wasted. All the exterior plant maintenance being tracked through the mesh as well, and all known major deficiencies were identified, and they're reviewed and approved or postponed for the 24 capital budget by council. Any new items that come up will be either added to the 2025 budget, or if it's deemed to be immediate repair, I will bring that forward to committee and council for consideration. Inspections, we haven't had any inspections to report for this period. Wastewater infrastructure. All the remote assets are in good operational condition, to the best of our knowledge. Staff started trial use of a new product to reduce and break down the grease buildup in the pump stations to reduce the amount sent back to the plant. The end goal is to reduce the issues caused by the buildup and then reduce the cost and labor to clean and maintain the pump stations. We're about 2.5 weeks into the trial. It's going to be a couple months before we are supposed to see any significant change. So we really won't know if it's going to work until later on come summer. And I just bought enough product to do a 6-month trial. And then if it doesn't show that after 6 months, then we'll make the decision to continue with it, or probably drop the product and look to other ways of doing it. We did have some options, but they were significantly mechanical blowers, stuff like that. So I think this is ultimately the cheaper way to go. So we're going to try this and hopefully it works. Again, I'm working on trying to get all our 2024 operational capital projects started on the way. Still been working with WESUC and the MOE on the possibility of a couple things. One was hauling the effluent water. We did do that on a trial basis for a while. It's not most convenient for staff or WESUC, so I suggested to them that we just sell them potable water. So that's what we ended up doing, is we've been selling them potable water from, we have a meter to backflow on the hydrant when they need it. For us, when they come in and they're just buying water. So it's not creating any extra work for staff, not congesting our yard up. They just pull up, take the water and leave. There's been a few people randomly asked what the trucks are doing. I haven't really had any complaints, just a few people that were curious walking down the sidewalks, what's going on there.
It's been on Facebook too.
Yeah, I did. I was told, I didn't see it, but I was
saw it.
told there was some comments on Facebook
Yeah.
about the trucks. But I can't personally see those to see what they actually,
It was more of what's happening,
but yeah, that's gonna just continue on. It's a good way to sell some water and not a lot of revenue, but it's still revenue.
Right.
It is what it's, the more we can sell, the better. Then the other thing is they still are asking us to work with them, considering the possibility of bringing in leachate from the landfills. On that topic, the MOE has not responded back since we requested to get them their response, so there's obviously somebody still looking into that. After seeing the lab results, I'm a little hesitant. It could be a reasonable revenue for the village, but it could also cause significant operation issues as well. So, if we had a large holding tank that we could slowly feed it in, unfortunately, that's not the case. It'll bring a truckload, it'll be a hard hit to the plant. Process wise, and then we'd have to deal with it, recover, and then do it all over again, so. That's the main issue that I'm concerned with right now, is we don't have the ability to feed small amounts of it continuously. So, definitely still trying to get some good information to pass on, before we'll flip this anymore. Drinking water infrastructure, all of our assets are currently in operational condition. All the required work schedule has been completed and mesh. St. Clair Street, we have started, the locates are all done from our department. We've had meetings with both contractor and engineer. I do have a list of stuff that I'm working at, finding out for the engineer and with the contractor as well, as far as servicing and locates and some other stuff. Been working with the Federal Bridge, trying to get, and some of the local businesses to deal with their fire suppression systems to ensure that when it is all put in, it's gonna meet the requirements of any fire demand that could potentially be needed. So that will be all going to MIG. Hopefully by the end of the week, probably the property owners have promised to get the information to me by the end of the week, so hopefully I can get that to Lydia and then they can keep moving forward with that. Stormwater, I'm continuing to work with Tormont Cat to get an actual solid number on replacement of the diesels. We've had multiple site meetings this last month. Their Tormont was just down with another contractor that's TSSA approved for fuel systems. And I just got their quotes actually the other day. So I have some rough numbers to use for the budget. We do have some in there, but I think that we probably ask for a little bit more.
What's a little bit?
It's not that bad, I don't think. But yeah, unfortunately, Tormont's it's the only engine manufacturer that's willing. We've had Harbor Diesel in, which is Detroit Diesels. We've had Cummins in, we contacted Summers. They all basically walked away from us, and they don't want to get involved with trying to revamp it. Caterpillar, they're an option right now, so. And unfortunately, the sales guy that I'm working with, I just emailed him this morning and I got a reply back, he's on vacation out of the country until April. So, I am going to get a hold of one of his colleagues and I'm hoping to get some info back from him, but. Catch basin, again, repair list is just it's an ongoing running list. They're actually doing a repair on Michigan Ave right now down by the park entrance. Or
The
the
road's
parking lot.
closed, I wonder what's
Yeah.
going on.
So basically it's CSP pipe, the pipe under the road from the two catch basins down to the sewer. It's all rotten and all the dirt under the road's caving in. So to make sure we won't have a sinkhole and we're fixing
You
it.
did that.
It's the same thing that's in front of Albert.
This is just a different spot.
So this one's being repaired. The county would like to have left it till next year because it's all gonna have to get relocated. If construction happens down there. Fortunately, I advised not to leave it, because if we do have a sinkhole and a car happens to collapse, it could cause a serious problem, so they agreed, yeah, let's get it fixed, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to deal with it maybe again next year. The other one, I've been working with the county, they basically informed me just to go get numbers for the replacement of the CSP pipe all along Michigan from Alberts back to kind of down past the splash pad along the curb line. There is about 250, 300 feet of
Like
Yes,
all on
right.
Michigan.
on Michigan, yeah, so it's gonna involve ripping up the parking lane, curbs, sidewalks, we're all gonna have to, it's gonna be a significant job, so. As I spoke to Glenn yesterday from the county, and he told me I'd just go ahead and start getting some numbers, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do. Cause they have no plans for redoing Michigan for quite a while, so just needs to be done.
And hopefully done as soon as possible before we get into the heavy traffic, John. Like,
Yeah, I didn't, well, we did repair the worst section that can't get camera through, but yeah, it's, I guess, once we get some numbers back, we'll figure out timeframes, how fast it can be done. Vehicles and equipment, all of our vehicles in good working safe condition. Health and safety. So we've already talked about a bunch of the issues that we do have in my department for health and safety on the reports. There is a new issue, February 28th. There's a large section of storm drain pipe that went free from the underside of the first span of Blue Water Bridge. It did land in the Federal Bridge compound. But it was a very sudden loud noise. We had a contractor on site. He was startled by it. Some of the staff were startled by it. Basically, as soon as it happened, it was reported to me. I did hear the sound. I thought it was somebody slamming their van doors, one of the contractors. Didn't realize it was that. Once they came in and told me what actually happened, I called the Federal Bridge. Usman and another staff member came over, showed them what happened, where it came from. They promised to deal with it and do some inspections. Is unfortunately, they can't do it any sooner than they have to wait for the ground to firm up. Because they need to use the lifts to get up there. So as soon as they can put a lift on a drain lift on the grass, they're gonna get up and do some more inspections. It is a bit of a concern. We've had a lot of stuff over the last number of years coming down off the bridge. So if it would have been high winds, or if it would have came off the second span, we'd have a different conversation going on right now. But if it did land on outside of the compound of the fenced area, it would cause serious harm or worse to people or property. So they're definitely gonna look into it and get back to us. And I think they're gonna do some additional inspection on the second span that's actually closer to us, but it's concerning, stuff's falling down, so. As soon as I get more back from them as far as a report, I'll pass that info back along. I did fill out an incident report and we've all given the Shelley. So I'm not sure where it is at this point in the path of where it has to go, but it has been submitted to her. I know she's got it, and I'm sure she'll be passing it on as we go. The bridge continues to keep their fencing portion along the north fence of the property in a few areas where the concrete hazards are, and then they're gonna be continuing to do that while they do the second span, and they may be adding, excuse me, additional fencing and kind of corner or taking areas away from us with whether it be fencing or safety tape or whatever while they're doing the construction. To ensure none of our staff are gonna be in the areas that could have additional hazards. Excuse me, the last part was just the review of to review the office space and options that you discussed as far as the public works in the arena. Security, we did have Roberts Powers Control come in. A while ago, Shelley had management was to fill out questionnaire form and inspection form on the sites. So one of the questions was about shadow and dark areas. So we went through and checked all the spots that we did have dark and shadowed areas. So anywhere there was a potential concern that somebody could or something could be unseen, we got lighting put in. I've only had one comment. We did have a small light put on the gate area. It shines down on the ground. There's been a couple comments about the light at the road, but it's not pointed at the road. I've been by multiple times a night. You see them from the corner, but it's not shining on the road. It's pointed at the ground. It's just that area is now lit up. So, Capital Badgers continuing to do the flushing and their CCTV work with condition assessment. And B&M Ross is still continuing to work on the capacity study. We've been told that there's probably going to be a few more weeks. Hopefully they'll have it done shortly. But yeah, it is still in the works. They've asked me for a little bit of the information from the CCTV work that is getting done for Badger. So I put in a request to try to get all that sorted out and sent to them so they can continue working on that. But my understanding is they're going to be at least 2 or 3 more weeks before we see a final report on it. So. And then 2024 operating, there's more capital budget items. I've got a number of them that they've all been started. I've given the purchase orders, the equipment's ordered. A lot of it's got longer lead times, so everything that's got lead times has been ordered, and now it's just wait till it gets here and then they'll do installs and do the work. And then I didn't have any community feedback, upcoming events, and any closing comments.
Thank you. I think you answered all the questions while we were going through your explanations. Okay, do you have any questions?
I do. So B.M. Ross, should we not be giving a firm date? This thing just keeps, we're 3 months late now. And it's like a couple more weeks or 2 or 3 more weeks.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with them needing to get it done. I would be a little concerned if we do rush them. There's more of a potential of a mistake being made, which in the end could come back, and cause us more grief, I'll say. Because what they do supply us and we supply back to the developers could, it's going to reflect on what potentially needs to be done for upgrades at the plant in the infrastructure under the ground. I don't think anybody's happy with the fact it's taken time. That being said, I'm not sure if it's just they don't have enough staff. They just have that much work on their plate. It's not making excuses for them, but honestly, it just seems now there's so many people we deal with on a regular basis that the urgency no longer seems to be there. It's always just hurry up and wait, and we'll get to you when we get to you. I'm not sure what the answer is.
Yeah, I mean, we follow up with them. they're the ones holding the bag.
I know, they're
There's,
totally
you know-
lost by the throat.
Yeah,
I do
Uh.
understand, because I actually have, they voted on. And they were recommended by some neighboring municipalities to use them for some other projects that we have in the 2024 capital, and. It's like, well, should I be looking at other options, but. The grass is always greener type of thing, we've used other. Other services from other companies and firms, and we see the same kind of results, so.
No, I get it now. I just want to make sure, like, and I know that you know this, but that they're truly understanding the need to get this done
Like I said,
and put it at a priority.
Jim and I have both made it clear that we need to see this, and yes, there's been multiple dates.
I'm sure, but
I do, like I guess it's something that maybe it has been discussed about maybe potentially going forward as a village, when we look at. When we do any kind of contracts, awards, stuff like that, we put in or have some kind of a clause that,
Yeah.
you know, there are head deadlines, and if you're late, but typically with that, from talking to other people in the industry, when you get into that, even some of the companies I've talked to and asked them how they deal with it, when they see that, they basically tack on more money at the end.
yeah.
yeah,
And they end up, because there is more of a risk for them if they're late, they basically put it up the front, so you're still paying for it.
So- today is the 11th.
Well,
Well, so 2 to 3 weeks. Can you just say we want it by the end of March?
You can say it.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
say it, but what, we have no force behind it.
I know,
That's the
but we're
problem,
getting-
right?
You know, we're getting pressure elsewhere and.
Yeah.
I understand. The other people that need the product. So it's just, you
Yeah.
know,
so the email that we got actually today. Basically says that they're working on the actual, like they're running the models right now. And then they just finished typing the report up. So they are at that last stage, which is, we can. Send them an email, and Jim, if you want to.
Yeah.
you can just stress, hey, we need this by the end. And I actually, I was asking Jim the other day if we heard from. Any of the people that are looking for this information, so I was assuming that it
yes,
won't be long before we hear back from them
Last
again,
night.
last night.
so. We will push as hard as we can.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I know you're working hard at it, but it's just frustrating. But that's, seems to be the new way of working.
Any further questions?
No, I'm good. We talked over all the moving issues, and as long as you're comfortable with getting the air purifiers and accepting that as the solution for now and not moving, then I'm trusting that you're making that decision. Thank you. Yeah.
I definitely feel it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Again,
Should have thought of it earlier.
and it was, honestly, it was something out of all this stuff, it really never popped up.
I never thought of it.
It was thing that popped up in a online flyer. Just the other day, I saw it and I got, I wonder if this would work for mold, and then I started doing research and turns out. But yeah,
Yeah.
it hasn't been anything suggested, and thinking about it, like when COVID hit. There's still a lot of dentist office, doctor's offices. They're using air purifiers and stuff in them now, so. Yeah, it just didn't, about a couple years ago would have been. Yeah. But it is a step, I think it's a step, you know,
Inching forward.
moving forward.
Okay, we can move on to the next new business item, which is the capital budget.
Hmm. So we've got Bayview Storm Station. Cleaning wells, the reserve for cleaning the wells. That's something we want to do every 3 years, so we put $5,000 aside each year and then spend the money in the third year. Catch basins and sinkholes, this is for repairs of catch basins and sinkholes.
Repairs, so we have, I believe we were over quite a bit. Too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's something that it'd be nice to put a great big number in there, and you don't use it 1 year, but last year was a bad year for us. Other years we've made do with what we had, so I think unless somebody has another opinion, we just leave it and, you know, these are these things that if we find a sinkhole or we find catch basins that are collapsing, they have to be fixed. Just hope that being 2023 is a bad year for them. 24 will be a little later.
So Jason, like you said, this catch basin and sinkholes are repairs. The question this morning in the public work room, there's a catch basin recommended every year. That's cleaning, isn't it?
That's clean, yeah. In the past, if, with Paul's here, if he had money left in those budgets, we needed, I was
We
gonna
would
go
use
over,
it.
we would shift some of that money for repairs, even though it was for cleaning maintenance, we would use it for the repairs. But the last couple of years, it was kind of, should we try to keep it separate? That is typically just for cleaning.
So is that something that's needed this year then, with all the work that,
We are
Doctors are
cleaning,
doing?
they are being cleaned out, so. You could. Skip it this year because all the catch was not, it's not because there's any extra money or additional money and. That was part of in order to video camera all the leads. They clean the catch basins and then they camera all the leads. So.
I think we at least discuss it then on budget day. so
Yeah.
that, You know,
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Like, we did do a cleanup, everything's getting cleaned out this year, so,
Yeah.
even. if
yeah, I think we just leave it there for now, but have a discussion on budget day about it.
Okay.
All right, and this, yeah, station upgrade reserve, 75,000.
So I do have, if I'm correct, we have $250,000 currently in reserves. The quotes that I've got, these are not guaranteed. This is budgetary numbers. We'd be looking at about 350 to 375,000 to do the repair. Yeah, it's not written in stone because they've made it quite clear in their quotes that they're budgetary quotes. While we're still trying to sort out some of the potential issues. So with the 75, that would put us at 325. We're getting close to that. My question would be, we do get a portion, like 18% of this will come back from the reg. So, you know, if we were to make that 100 and make it.
No, I don't think I charged them on the reserve part of it. I think once we actually do the job,
Yeah, sorry, that's what I say, if we were to put the money in, like add to the 75 and make it enough to cover that, we will get that portion back. Yeah,
yeah. See, right now you've got 250.
like at 375, we'd get approximately, what, 60 some 65,000, whatever back. So whether we get it back after that, or we add it in and then get it back, it's just it's an option that we could potentially actually get this done this year. We're a little short with the 75. So,
And this is these diesels that you were talking about, okay.
yeah, so the other option, the biggest issue I have with this right now is from what Caterpillar is being told and how they're understanding the reg, we have to go with the tier 4 final diesel, which is all the emissions control stuff. And it causes a lot of issues, especially with these kind of setups. They're meant to run on equipment that runs for 8 hours a day, or trucks that are going up and down the highway, you know, running for hours and hours on end. They're finding with these setups, in emergency standby setups, they're having a lot of issues with them because they don't run long enough to do the, basically, it's called a regen of the particulate filter. So what it is it runs DEF fluid, burns really hot. The filter burns off the pollutants and it has to cycle. Well, these aren't gonna run for those long periods of time. So one of the options we've been working with two local companies to try to come up with an idea of how we can separate the engine from the drive and the pump. So monthly, we could run these things for 2 or 3 hours at a time in order to get those run times in without trying to run the pumps. Like, we can't run the pumps dry. So this is kind of the guesswork, is how are we gonna disconnect these?
So if another 75,000 is approved, what's that 43,000 carried forward?
That would be on top of that,
Okay, so then you
So-
would have,
as long as these numbers are good. So,
He's needing 25,000, is that what you're saying?
right, if another 75,000 was approved to put into his reserve, he'd be up to 325.
plus 40.
But he's got a carry forward amount from last year of 43,000 for diesel stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So that carryover is basically if we have to do an emergency repair on the ones that are failing, causing us trouble. We would have to spend that and we would still have 60-year-old pieces of equipment. So we know there's issues. Instead of repairing them, the money's there, so we can repair them if they break down.
So it's just a reserve, you don't have an intention of spending it right away.
The 44,
the 43.
so the 43, it's there if I need it
And the
tomorrow.
new money. I meant the
Oh,
whole
the
thing.
new money?
Yeah,
So I think what he's saying is if we get 325 and add the 43,
Well,
do we proceed with this project now?
and then he doesn't have to worry about the
Oh,
other one, the 43 being spent on
Yes,
repair
okay,
of
I misunderstood.
60-year-old
Okay,
equipment. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I really don't wanna put $40,000 into 60-year-old pieces of
Right.
equipment and then next year change them out.
Like you want to carry that money forward from the prior year in
Right.
case something happened. And in the meantime, put money aside. So now he's saying, if he gets his 75,000 this year. With what's in the reserve, what the new amount would be,
Right.
and is carried forward, there should be enough to get new stuff instead of repair
and you
old
would then
stuff.
plan to go ahead.
Yeah, right now, if we order it today, they're saying that we should have the new ones by August, which still gives us lots of time to do
Sure,
the install.
okay,
Just like Sandrin's one, Rock Technical's one, they're trying to figure out how we can do that disconnect. And no, so we don't have a number for that yet because we don't have an actual definite way we're gonna do it. The other option too, we're trying to look at is when the inspector came in with the Tormont guy last week. He's give us the price to put a new fuel, they just put a fuel system in there in 2014. I think it was 2014, just before I came to the village. It's red tagged, doesn't meet the standards now. So we're gonna have to upgrade that, so we're trying to get Cap to look at one options. It's $80,000 to put the fuel system back in, up to code. If we can go with internal storage tanks built right in from the factory from Cat, we might be able to, it might add $20,000 or $30,000 to the cost of the units, but we'll be able to take that $80,000 away. We're just trying to find out whether or not they can do it. And this is what, unfortunately, it's taking forever to try to get all this stuff figured out and.
So I think my opinion for now, we leave this 75,000 here. We need to have a report. Like you're throwing around a lot of numbers and it's hard
Yeah,
to keep track
yeah.
of. Like, does the 80,000 come off the 375 or is it in addition to 375?
It would be off 375. The only thing I don't have numbers for right now is how we're gonna uncouple.
Right, and does that, those numbers include installation as well?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, right now, we're just talking budget, so I think we should leave the 75,000 there. And we should get a report for this committee.
My
when we can.
biggest ask is to get the
Right.
money put in there.
Yep.
So if it all comes together sooner than later, we could still go forward with it this year
Yeah.
if the money's in the reserves.
Is it also possible that we can order these engines? Can we order them and take delivery this year and then possibly not install them till next year if,
Yeah. Yeah, we could do
if
that.
those circumstances?
So and I did like, I know, I did some asking, so just as my like, to compare, there's a lot of money. I brought the quotes up from, or the report up from, Paul and Fraser. From November 2017 and 2017 to convert it all to electric, because even the one contract that I was in. He suggested, why wouldn't you do that instead? And it's, well, it was $720,000. 17. It's gonna be over $1 million to do it. Now,
Good
so
times.
that,
So I,
Yeah,
that's the ideal way of doing it. Unfortunately, it's also 3 times as much. So. But I'd like to have the money. At least set aside in the reserve, so if we can get. CAT sorted out and we can get a way to disconnect these from the pumps. And then reconnect them so we can do our monthly runs. I'd like to try to get this going this year. Like I said, it might be ordered this year and go
Yeah.
into carry over in the 2025, but at least we're gonna, get it moving forward. The biggest thing is it's 4 to 6, well, say 4 months to 5 months lead time to get the, like, once you say go, it's gonna take that time to get the diesels here.
so we'll leave that in the budget for now and then we'll 38.5 for the cement pads.
Maybe deferred again?
Yeah. we can defer them. Now, the only, that was one other thing that was suggested, that the TSS saying, if they don't allow us to put another fuel tank inside, then we'll have to put some kind of pad in with a fence around it. But
So how are they fueled now? Like,
diesel fuel.
I know, but I mean, like, do you bring jerry cans full of fuel in? or,
No, we get,
a truck.
Oh,
Like somebody delivers it
Yeah.
and fills the tanks directly?
dollar, so they come, they fill it, so our fills right now, they don't meet the standard. So. Potentially, they could, the next truck driver that comes in could say, they don't have that fixed, we're not gonna deliver fuel after this. So far, it hasn't been an issue, but again, it's all up to the delivery person.
So they have to have pads over at Public Works,
No,
so they could, so both.
well, it's
That
that,
should be an issue.
well, no, those are double walled tanks.
Oh.
External tanks, ours is a internal tank, but the fills are on the outside of the building. So we have containment inside, but then we have fills and a vent outside the building. And they have standard, they don't have the fills and vents on the outside, they're filled, they open, the top of the tank has a lid. It's got a little containment built in, and then they just open the lid and stick their nozzle in. Where ours is, it's up, and they have to stick it in, there's supposed to be a big tray around it. There's issues inside, the way it's pumped.
I guess these.
And it's frustrating because when we went through this in Harrow, the municipality put a whole new generator at the water plant. And it was 6 months after it went in. We had a red tag because they changed the regulation and they didn't want to deliver fuel to it, so.
So we're gonna cut out the cement pads for now?
I think
Yeah,
that was, and then if they have to deal with it, they have to deal with it.
yeah. How much is it? I can't see.
38.5.
And then what? On your report, did you not say you're gonna add something? Something to the capital budget? Did you not hear him say that? Or is that just my foggy brain?
Thought it said
You probably just
75.
assumed you wanted
Yeah,
to.
because it never ends.
I thought you said I have something to add. It's gonna cost a little bit more.
Oh.
Oh, that was just-
75, wasn't it?
yeah, I was making sure like either the 75 or
Yeah.
doing a little
Okay,
bit extra.
alright,
And then
so we're not
just to
adding
make
anything
sure,
else.
just because I don't know what I do not know what it's gonna cost to have that disconnect. But,
Okay,
like Jim said, if it does come in more expensive than what we would hope. We could at least order stuff, like order the two
do
engines,
the
get some of the
installation
stuff
next year.
Okay,
and finish it in 25.
so we're gonna move on to Alexandra. And again, 5,000 for cleaning the wells. There's a fairly major pipe repair that Jay has talked about recently, so $25,000 more into the reserve for an expected $150,000 expense. Those are the only two items on that. Sander station.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then
No, I was getting my
the
bearings.
wastewater is from your budget.
Yeah, that's already approved, the 150,000. So that's everything for Jay's capital, pretty small list.
Because he got, the money
Big,
already.
big
Just like
numbers.
you did big stuff.
Yeah, that isn't all he got.
All right.
Thanks, Tina, for hanging in.
A review of the environmental services monthly financial statements for the period ending in February 29th.
I didn't know.
Four. Do not have any questions? Okay, unless there is anything else. The next meeting date for the Environmental Services Committee will be held April 9th, 2024 at 1 p.m.
I'm on vacation that day and Greg's gonna cover me, and then he gets someone to cover his committee.
Okay.
So there's still two people.
All right.